Welcome to the Power of Great. I'm your host, Matt Crane, and every single week we come to you on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, Pandora, iHeartRadio. But more importantly, my mission is to help you recognize that your current situation is not your defining moment. And this week, we've got my man, Matt Partain, in the Power of Great Studios. And guys, Matt Partain's a sales trainer, author. He's a legacy leader, legacy of greatness. His expertise in sales will provide you with the wealth of knowledge and tricks to close sales on a regular basis. Matt's a high energy guy, so I'm really excited about this. And with a name like Matt, you really can't go wrong anyway. Matt Partain, welcome to the Power of Great, my man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matt Crane. That's a good name, by the way. I like it, man.
Yeah, you know, you really,
name, right?
Oh, it's very powerful. And the funny thing is that, you know, thank the Lord that my mother had a decision in naming me, because my dad has been great friends with Sterling Marlin, who's a well-recognized race car driver, and that's what he wanted to name me. So I'm so thankful that my mother decided to slide in, not knocking my man Sterling Marlin, but some people can wear that name, some people just can't.
Right.
And with
tell them I said thank you too, because it's a great name. I love it. I can dig it.
Yeah, and you know, with hair like mine, I don't know if Sterling would have went over with everybody. So
yeah, let's stick with Matt Crane. Let's stick with Matt Crane, man.
So Matt Partain.
Yes, sir.
I found you online. We had some mutual friends, and one of the things that I really love about what you bring to the table is you have an uncanny ability to rally the troops. You've got a lot of energy. You've got a lot of great information when it comes to the sales game. But where does that passion come from? Where does that drive and that desire to just really reach out and help people on a larger level? Where does that come from?
That's a fantastic question. Up until a week ago, I did not have a definitive answer for that. But I recently got back from Texas, and I reconnected with, as a friend, my best buddy's parents. I hadn't seen them in 15 years. And as a kid, I had it kind of rough. Like I grew up, I was physically, emotionally, mentally abused, like on the daily. And my buddy's parents, they took me into their home. You know, they fed me, they clothed me, they showed me, you know, love and compassion that I wasn't getting all the time. And it just, like I said, just in this past week, it really connected. So the reason why I have so much drive and passion to do for others is because, you know, I was once that guy that nobody would do for, right? And I've had a philosophy since I was 17 years old. If you have the ability or the opportunity to help somebody, you're obligated to do so. You know, it's not about, you know, what am I going to get out of it? It's about what you can give to somebody else that doesn't have the opportunity. So that's where I get my passion. I don't want anybody's effort or anybody's time or anything that they invested in me to go to waste. And then my buddy's mom, Miss Peggy, she said something to me as I was leaving. She said, "We had such a hard time finding you. I'm so glad that we reconnected, though." And I said, "I'm going to be so big. I'm going to make so much noise. You're never going to have a hard time finding me again."
I love that. You know, and I think that for so many listeners out there, they may have not have gone through or may not be going through the physical and emotional abuse that maybe you went through, but maybe they're feeling like there's this moment, this shift, right? And the one thing I love about what we're doing on this podcast is, once again, is that, hey, that didn't define you, right? It might have been a definitive moment for you, but it didn't define who Matt Partain was. And that's what I love about that story. So as we kind of expand on that, when you decided to get out into the world, what was it about sales? Why did you want to be closed like a pro? Why did you want to be known as one of the best salespeople in the game?
Well, I found out early on that sales is something that I just sort of took to very easily. You know, I remember I was 16 years old and I was bussing tables at a restaurant. And I'm cleaning up a table next to this family, and we just start up a conversation. We're chit-chatting, we're having a good old time. And, you know, before I know it, like we're all laughing. Yeah, everyone's just having a great time. At the end of the meal, the dad comes up to me, shakes my hand, says, "Thank you for showing us a good time," and slips me a 20. I mean, I was getting paid like, you know, $7-8 an hour at this time. So I just got 3 hours worth of pay for a conversation. And I was like, wait a minute, there's another way to make money now. You know, I don't got to hustle and grind and wait for the clock to tick by.
I like that. And I think for most people, you know, something that maybe they would really want to know from you is that what was the scariest moment for you when it was sales? Was it the intro? Was it having to meet people, talk to people? Or was it just actually having to go out into an industry where maybe you didn't know a lot about and really try to figure your way out? You know, what was it about those moments that kept you pushing forward and forward? I know it had to be more than just the money.
It was more than just the money. It was just the fact that I had this just like a little epiphany at that time. I was like, there's another way to do things. I don't have to be now, like before I was a busser, I was a dishwasher, I was covered in grime, I was nasty every day. There's another way to actually earn a living, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Now, when I first got into sales, yeah, it was scary. I was completely out of my element because I'd never officially, sold something before. But luckily, I had a few mentors around me. I was trained by some sharks on how to sell. But what I quickly noticed was like, oh, I've got 5 years of experience in this. I started in the supplement industry. I've got 5 years of experience. I've got 7. I've got 3. What I came quickly to understand was they didn't have 5, 7, and 3. They had about 6 months worth of experience that they just been repeating over and over and over. They laid all that information out to me, kind of showed me what to do, and I took it from there. But what really kept me pushing forward was the fact that even though that I was scared or I was nervous at a certain point, when I went up to that fear and I faced it, it really wasn't so bad. I was still alive. I still had a job. Everything was cool. And at the end of the day, I was able to make a great connection with somebody and help solve a problem to put a smile on their face.
So through your experiences, I think everybody has that one moment where they help someone and they walked away from going, wow, I get to do this every single day. Was there one family or was there one individual or was there one company that maybe you went into it with not a lot of high expectations and you walked out from it going, man, I learned something from them just as much as I hope they learned something from me?
Basically every sales position I've ever had, absolutely. One of the biggest lessons that I got when I was 19, me and one of my buddies, we actually started our own marketing company. It was a little door hanger bag, and then it turned into an advertising magazine like that almost overnight. And from dealing with like business owners on a business to business level instead of like a consumer to salesman level, it was a totally different dynamic. I learned a lot from that as far as how to better engage with people. So how to treat them, how to get them to respond in a certain way and show them, open their mind to a new idea. But where I really got that big connection was when I started training people on how to sell. Because my whole life, like even through the struggles and whatnot, I've taken care of myself. I'm still here. I'm going to continue doing that. But a lot of people have never had that leg up. They've never had that knowledge, right? So I love teaching and just giving knowledge and experience to people that have never had it. And that's where I learn from them. So I'm like, wow, I get to see from a totally different perspective, right, how somebody else can struggle. Yeah, you didn't go through the same things I did. You weren't physically, mentally, emotionally abused, anything like that. But you still have, even though you had like maybe this great upbringing or all the chances in the world, you still have like the same fears that I do and that I did. And then the reason why I say do, if you're not scared about what you're doing, you're not doing enough. I'm terrified every day, but in an amazing way. There's no better way to be.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, people that are only doing the bare minimum are not doing enough to get scared. And it's that they're staying in their comfort zone. It's when you start ramping up your activities, you start ramping up your abilities based on your activities is when you start stepping into uncharted waters. And that's when your map just has to go to the wayside and you have to start writing your own directions. So right. I couldn't agree with you more there. And once again, ladies and gentlemen that are out there listening to The Power of Great, we've got my man, Matt Partain. He's an independent sales expert. This gentleman goes all over the country, opening up new markets. We were talking a little bit offline. He works in the gourmet food industry right now. That's pretty interesting, knowing that the food market as a whole, especially at a restaurant level, is kind of taking a beating. But yet it takes people like Matt to get out in this field, to get out in this industry and really help train people up to know that you got to eat, right? And people need to understand the mechanics of how to sell this product. But I also want to give a big shout out to the folks at Rush Impact Media, my man Jeremy Warner, who does an amazing job, him and his team behind the scenes to help power up the Power of Great podcast. Without them, all these amazing people that come on would be able to talk to me, and that's about it. So I really want to thank those guys and gals out there at Rush Impact Media for what they do to help us get our podcast up on so many different channels. And hey, Matt, just so you know, man, our video today as well is going to hit 6 different continents on my YouTube channel, which is awesome.
Boom!
And, I'm really, really excited about that. So, as we transition, you actually led me into a great question, so I appreciate that. Okay. But, as you transition from the sales to a sales leader, sales trainer, that go-to person, what was that transition like? And how much more difficult is it now knowing you're managing a lot more people than just yourself?
It's not more difficult to me. And this is why. Like I said, I've always taken care of myself. I've always had to grind it out. So I know that I'm going to be taken care of, one way or another. But I love helping other people. That's where my true passion is. But that transition, that was the biggest sale I've ever made in my life. Because when I started in this industry, I started with the company. Within 30 days, I was the top salesman in the entire country. I was hitting numbers they'd never even seen before, and I was just getting started. And I had my buddy Rob. I got to give him a shout out, Rob Kova. He was the one that we started the marketing company with. And he was talking to me one day, and he's like, hey man, I'm glad to hear everything's going great for you, but what are you going to do when the rug's pulled out from under you? What are you going to do when the stuff hits the fan? Because it has all your life. So what's going to be different this time? Where do you want to be? And it got me thinking. And I was like, man, where do I've never been asked that before. All my life, I've told myself what I don't want, but I've never once asked myself, what do I want? What do I deserve? What am I capable of? So it got me thinking. And I finally decided, I was like, I want to be on stage, talking to people, motivating them, getting them inspired, teaching salesmen how to sell, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people that have no idea what's going on. They're just thrown into the ocean. Hopefully you can swim, right? And I've been given a particular set of skills. I've learned a particular set of skills, which has allowed me to, to teach and train others. But that transition, on my 1-year anniversary of being with the company, the CEO and the owners of the company called me up and they're like, hey, the St. Louis market is on fire. You're killing it. We want you to go to another market and do the same thing. And I was like, this is my chance. This is my shot, right? So I'm like, guys, I don't want to be a manager. I don't even want to be a manager in the St. Louis market anymore. This is what I want to do. This is where I'm going to bring the most value to you. And I waited. Like I pleaded my case. I had my pitch ready, and I was just like, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And after some negotiations and a couple more phone calls, it was done. I was the national sales trainer, and I couldn't have been more excited. And I was given a 90-day probation. They were like, either you show us some results or you're going to be knocked back down to manager. I'm like, all right, cool. So within that 90 days, I doubled revenues that we had coming through the company.
Well, I guess that's not an argument anymore. It's simply what we like to call social proof and proven facts. So, digging into that. So first of all, congratulations to that. And ladies and gentlemen, anybody that's ever watched Matt Partain on any of his social media outlets, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the show on where they can find more out about you. But look, there's not, this guy is the real deal. Very genuine, very humble, but he has a lot of practicality with what he teaches. And I think for most people, you hear so many experts and so many gurus and they lay out so much stuff, but yet it's like, well, at what point do I understand any of it? So I think for you, Matt, one of the things that I really appreciated and was drawn to you about was how you were able to take complex things, but put them and deliver them in such a practical way that people could extract them from and utilize them right away. So, I commend you on that as well. And really am not shocked at all that you doubled revenues in the company. Now, they say with higher goals comes higher expectations. After you doubled that revenue, what was those phone calls like after that? And what did you have to do from that point forward to continue to hit those marks?
Well, everybody was stoked. They were like, oh my God, how did this happen? We've never hit numbers this high. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, cool, but this is step one. I'm like, we need to double them again. And it's not far off. We can do it with our current field, our current reps. Everybody just needs to sell this much more. And if they follow steps A, B, and C, we can sell this much more. We can have a lot of fun stuff going on too. So we continued progressing, and we actually ended up having a company trip all the way out to Cabo, absolutely free for like the top 15 people in the company. It was incredible. The first one, the business has been around for 10 years. The first time they've ever been able to do something like that. So I mean, there's always more expectations, and anybody that knows me, that watches me on social media, or anyone that knows me personally, I'm extremely critical of myself. Good enough isn't good enough. I got to go for more each and every day, period. Because you never know when another curveball is going to come at you, or as my buddy said, when the rug's going to be pulled out from under you. So you got to be prepared for those moments. So there's always higher expectations, right? And there's always going to be, but you've got to be focused on the future. You can't be looking at the present moment. You can't be looking at the past. This is what we did. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, but we got to go up there though. We got to get to the top of that mountain. Let's not rest here. We got to get up there. How do we do it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the great ones have that mindset. I say this, that's why when you really want to be great, you start to understand why the rear view mirror is so much more smaller than the windshield. Mm-hmm. and for salespeople, it's the rear view mirror, I think, that holds a lot of salespeople back because they're constantly trying to see what's behind them. And in the grand scheme of things, it's so much more smaller to the bigger picture, which is what's sitting in front of them. So, and I think another thing that I find that I really enjoy from that is that it wasn't ever about what Matt got from, I loved what you said there, and I hope our audience really understood that when I asked you that question, you had a chance to raise your hand and take some credit. But all you were able to do was come behind it and talk about how you helped send people on a trip, how you helped the company do something for the first time. That's why, man, when you say legacy of greatness, that's what it's all about, is leaving opportunities for other people to be successful. And, that's why you're a first-class guy.
Thank you.
So let's transition this into it. I had the opportunity of getting a sneak peek behind your first book. It's currently up on your website right now, mattpartain.com. People can get there, download a free copy of that ebook while it still stands to be free, because you're getting so many responses that I know that it's going to go up in price soon enough, and it should be, because it's more valuable than free. I'll just tell you that. But walk me through that process, Champ or Chump. Why that title?
Okay.
And just how difficult, because, hey, writing a book can be difficult.
Yes.
How difficult was it for you to push through and write that book?
All right. First of all, Champ or Chump, that was I got into bodybuilding when I was 17 years old. And, with me and my buddies, there was a little taunt that we had, like you want to be a champ or a chump. What do you want to do, right? Pick up the weight, do it. Don't cry about it. So it was just a little taunt that we had. But going from the workouts, going from the gym environment, and going into the business world, it's really no different. The what separates the great ones from average, it's the mentality of it, right? That's why I said, champ or chump, the only difference is you, because you are the difference maker there. Whether you think, the old, what was it, Aristotle? If you think you can, you think you can't, right? You're right either way. It's the same principle. You've got to have the mindset of a champion. That's the only way you're going to win. Michael Jordan, he came out of nowhere. One year he was at the bottom. He was warming up a bench. The next year, boom, MVP, and everybody, Michael Jordan, right? He had the mindset of a champion. So that's exactly what you got to have going forward. Now, as far as writing the book goes, I started writing the book without trying to write the book. I literally just opened my laptop one day and I just started typing. I really had no purpose behind it. And before I knew it, I had like 20 pages of stuff written. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is cool. And from being so critical of myself, this is a piece of advice I want to throw it to everybody that's watching and listening. Do not be so critical. Do not label yourself as a perfectionist. That's a fancy word for procrastinator. It's never going to be perfect. You're always going to put it off and find something wrong. That's exactly what I did. So I was like, I'm going to write a book. Keep on typing, keep on typing, keep on typing. And then I'm like, I don't like the way that sounds. This should go up here. Wait, that should go there. Before I know it, delete the whole thing. So I was pushing through. I was hustling for about 8 or 9 months of just random typing. And then I sat down and I just had this moment of clarity. And in 5 days, I actually wrote the book. So, but you just got to keep doing it. It's consistency.
Yeah, well, I love how you said that. Perfectionist is really a scaled up word for procrastinator. I like that because I think a lot of people, especially, my man Grant Cardone said this on a recent podcast I did with him, is that, hey, everybody can write a book. We've been writing since the dawn of time. So you didn't write a book to say you wanted to sell a book. You wrote a book because you said, I want to write a book. And most people procrastinate too long and never write that book. So I love how you said that, man. I'm going to write that down. Perfectionist is really a scaled up version of procrastination. And I know I paraphrased that in there.
The fancy word for it.
So, sales trainer, sales industry, sales business, noisy marketplace, very competitive. So many people out there claiming to be experts. Mm-hmm. What is it about Matt Partain that separates himself from all the rest?
Well, first and foremost, I don't claim myself to be an expert. I don't claim myself to be a guru. I claim myself to be a student of life. I'm always learning, always trying to perfect my craft. And if anybody can find value from that, then that's what I'm here to do. Okay. If you guys want to label me as an expert because of the advice I've given you, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. But what separates Matt Partain apart from anybody else? I've been down and out. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be scared, to hold yourself back. Not anybody else. It might be the influence of somebody, all that negativity talking, right? I know what all that's like. And I know what it's like to finally break through it and not care about any of that negativity anymore. To focus on something that is much bigger than you. And that's why I deem it, the legacy of greatness. I want something that's going to benefit people long after I'm gone from this world. And it's starting right here. It's starting right now. So what sets me apart? I don't use any fluff. I get right down to the point when it comes to information. I'm very blunt. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I really don't like to use kid gloves. If you ask me, hey, is this good or is this bad? I'm just going to flat out tell you it sucks and this is why. Or this is great. And I don't mean any offense by it. I like, as Grant Cardone says, take time out of the equation, right? Be blunt, be honest. Where so many people fall short is we don't accept what's going on. We don't have a clear perspective on it. So we're like, oh, it's good enough. Oh, all we got to do is maybe do this. No, if it's not working, change it and do it right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. You've got to change it, and you've got to change it right now. All right? Quit trying to be a perfectionist, right?
Yep.
So, you also have this thing, close like a pro.
Yes.
Okay. Where did that come from, and what is it really all about?
I thought it sounded good. So I was like, oh, did I lose you? Okay. I thought it sounded good. Close like a pro. So I just started going into like typing out, what do I know about sales? What sort of objections do I know that people are running into, so on and so forth every day? And when I started training people, I was like, wow, you guys are really hearing this from people. You're actually having another human being tell you off in this fashion. Why is that? And how can we overcome it? So I don't want you to close sleazy like a 1940s, car salesman, right? I want you to close like a pro, a professional, a business person, a consultant, somebody that is coming from a place of expertise and authority. It's not about an argument. It's not about a compromise. It's about making a logical and emotional case to do business with you and help guide somebody to make the best decision for them. That's what it's all about for me. So that's where Close Like a Pro is about.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So let me ask you this, Matt. Mm-hmm. As you meet different salespeople across the country, as you work with salespeople within your own organization every single day, what's one piece of advice you can give those salespeople that are going to be listening to this podcast, or anybody that's going to be listening to this podcast and watching this show, that can help them not only better close like a pro, mm-hmm. but can really help them move the needle in their life and in their business when it comes to sales and the sales game?
Absolutely. The one piece of advice I could give is stop telling yourself you can't do it. Stop telling yourself it's not going to work for me, right? Quit telling yourself why, all the reasons it's not going to work, and start telling yourself how it will work. That's what so many of us do. We stand in our own way. So get out of your own way, Open eyes, open ears, open mind, listen, absorb. And if you don't think it's going to work, prove that it's not going to work.
Yeah. Hey, so you guys heard it right there. If you keep telling yourself it's not going to work, then what you're really doing is proving to yourself why it'll never work. You've got to get out there and you've got to change it, and you've got to change it now, and you've got to prove why it will work. I love that answer, Matt. So, Matt, where can a lot of our listeners, where can the viewers, where can the audience find out more about Matt Partain? Where can they see you on social media? Where can they connect with you? And how can they interact with you more?
Sure. Go to my website, go to mattpartain.com. You can connect with me throughout all my social media channels there. I'm on LinkedIn, Google+, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, Busker. What else is I'm on all of it. YouTube. I'm on all of it. I'm adding new content all the time, trying to bring more value to you guys. So go to my website. You can connect with me through anything. If you're looking for me on any of the channels, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, Snapchat, my username is Matthew with 1T _Partain. Feel free to connect with me, reach out, send me a direct message, stay in contact. Absolutely.
That's Matthew with 1T _Partain, Partain.
Boom.
And you definitely want to connect with my man on Periscope because he brings the heat. And Matt's an amazing guy. Hey, look, check this out. Bonus for each and every one of you. He also has a pretty sweet Facebook group page called The Legacy of Greatness, where he definitely does a great job of highlighting different people, leaving a lot of great information, and really serving a large community. So, you definitely want to connect with Matt there. I think that would be a great avenue for a lot of people to be able to stay engaged with Matt on a more regular basis. So What's next for you, Matt Partain? What can we expect from you moving forward?
You can expect to see a lot more of me in a lot more places. I'm just going to get bigger and louder, my man. The whole social media game, being able to connect with amazing people like you, with all my followers throughout all the channels, it's been mind blowing. I've been telling my people lately. 45 days ago, I was a storyteller, but I didn't have an audience. And I finally have an audience, people that I'm able to positively influence, and there's not enough of that going on, man. They got you and me. They got the two Matts bringing the greatness home. You know what I mean? We need a lot more of that happening, brother. So what's next for me? My book is coming out, Champ or Chump, The Only Difference Is You. It's being published right here, right now. On the website, though, I've actually got an ebook download available for everybody. So you guys can go check it out, get the ebook right now. And for everybody watching, I've got a special offer. You mind if I throw it out there?
Absolutely.
All right. Special offer for all of you guys, because I want to thank you all so much for all the support that you've given me. I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for you. If you go to the website, when you go to checkout, type in the coupon code GREATNESS, and that's going to give you 50% off of the book. You get it for half price. I want to give back to you guys. And a little sneak preview into the future, anybody that gets the ebook, I'm also going to give you an additional coupon so you can save money on the hardcover as soon as it's out. And I'm going to be autographing each and every one of them, so my hand's going to be cramped up.
I love that. So, guys and gals, you want to get to mattpartain.com, get the download of the book, but you also want to use the coupon code GREATNESS, and that's going to give you 50% off that. But then it's also going to set you up for an additional coupon code down the road for the hard copy, autographed copy of my man's book, Champ or Chump, The Only Difference Is You. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Every single week, I leave you with this. Success is never measured by what you step out of, rather by what you are committed to step into. And I am so honored every single week to share this platform with each and every one of you and be your host right here for the Power of Great. I'll see you guys and gals next week.